The model is that I work with the head of the villages or the local influencers, let's
Yeah.
say, to have technology accepted because it's something new for them. It's simple; they've never seen it, so you need
Yeah.
to have it accepted by them, show them how it works. It's a training on how to use it, how to clean the filter. It's not rocket science, but you need to go through this
Yeah.
first, and it's to get the buy-in from the leaders who then help you to diffuse, help you to propagate or diffuse this technology in the village. On top of let's say, of the main advantage is people save money.
Yeah.
They don't have to buy water. They can just take water from their tap. And for these people, buying water is expensive because they don't earn a lot.
Yeah.
The target, let's say, group, my target customers. And then on top of it, you also reduce plastic bottle use.
Empower Your Life. I'm your host, Cindy Marie. Another episode that I'll be able to talk about not only serving community, entrepreneurship, but also how to protect our Mother Earth, our planet, with our next guest. He's an ex corporate executive turned to social entrepreneur based in Bali, Indonesia. He was running a multi-million-dollar business back in Ireland in 2011 when he experienced a shift. He realized that he was helping business making money, but not really helping people. And this is not aligning with his values anymore. Therefore, he decided to move to Indonesia in Bali to start his own business, a social enterprise called Social Impact. I cannot wait for you to hear more about his transitions, his story, social impact, and everything else. So, without further ado, may I welcome to you our next guest, Jeroen van Overbeek. Hi, Jeroen. Thank you so much for being part of the
Thanks,
show.
Mary. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, so let's start, and I'm sure that a lot of listeners or viewers are very interested in, like, you came from all the way in Europe, and then now you're other part of the world in Indonesia, and share with us, like, how the transition, or where was the wake up call where you decided that, okay, I'm done with this business corporate world, and I would like to serve more people to protect our planet, and why social entrepreneur, and what is social impact all about? So share with us.
Yeah, quite a lot of questions.
I know. So share with us first, like, I know that, it was, I don't know, like, I think it kind of tough to, like, your decision, the wake up call, why you decided on, how did you decide to really jump from corporate world to social entrepreneur now? So maybe we can start from.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I was in Europe originally. I'm from the Netherlands, but I grew up in France. So I was multilingual from a young age, and that's why I've always been bit traveling and working in international trade. In my corporate years, I've been doing 20 years. So it's in the corporate world. So it's quite a time, and I'm happy I did that. I learned a lot, and so back in 2011 was my let's say last corporate stint or job, I would say. And I was working in Dublin. It's a very nice city in Ireland for a British company selling raw materials for the bakery industry, mainly yeast, like yeast to make bread, rice. And this was my this was like let's say I've been climbing the ladder. I've been quite successful in my career, but at that time when I was like running a business, I was vice president for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So in charge of the region and running about 8 factories producing yeast all over the region, and managing it for about 1,000 people and turnover about $100 million. So it was quite a big job in my late 30s, and I've been there. But then I thought, okay, I had a kind of an idea of how long do you want to continue to do that? Is it going to be all your life? But something was missing still. I mean, I had a good job. I had a very good pay. But I've also, the good thing is I've never really been attracted by too much by material things and just the money side and the success side of things. So I could kind of, it's not easy to get out of it, but that was not my main goal. So I was really thinking, you want to do that in another 20 years? And the answer inside was no. But then the question is, like many people, okay, but what next? What do you want to do then? So what happened is, during my career, I've been working over regions. I was based first 10 years in Europe, but I was traveling extensively as area sales manager to regions like Russia, Middle East, India. And then after 10 years, I moved to China, this time for a position for a job in Shanghai back in 2002. So I stayed there for 8 years, came back to Europe. So I got to know Asia quite well, about 2002 to 2009. And then I moved back to Europe when this financial crisis started. It's, I don't know if you remember, but there was this subprime crisis in the US, 2007, 2008, and the whole economy collapsed. And that was the time I decided to leave China after having a fantastic 6 years time in the most, let's say, the fastest growing economy in the world. At that time, it was 12% growth per annum. And to come back. And why? Because I wanted to be close to my family. My parents getting older, and I thought, let's go back to Europe. But the timing was not great. And I took my time to find a new job, something that I really liked. I had stayed 11 years with my group in that company. There was no more prospects in that company, so I wanted to do something new. So that's when I found that job in Ireland. But it took me a year kind of to go there and find it, because it was a crisis. For a bit of a time, I was kind of looking for a job, first time in my life, but I wasn't panicked. I had some, let's say, skills. It was actually more to readapt to Europe and the slower pace after 6 years in China. So that was the challenge, what we call sometimes as reverse cultural shock. You come back to your own country, but you've been in a total different setting for 7, 8 years. It's a bit complicated sometimes to readapt to your own roots and things. And that I went through that for a year. At the time, I was looking for a job, but I learned to do professional networking and did a lot of things, which helped me to get that last job that I was talking about in Dublin, and which was another jump in the career, and just like getting in charge of more responsibilities and things like that. But then after 1.5 years, I felt like, is that really for me? I mean, my job was going well, but I felt I want to do something more useful, because I make my shareholders happy, which is good. I mean, I earn good money, but I make them richer. What about people? What about doing something more impactful? And my father moved to France from Holland. He was an entrepreneur, so he had his own company for 15 years. So I've been raised in such a family, but I had never been an entrepreneur myself. Even if I was in corporations, I had like big responsibilities. I was kind of an intrapreneur, because I had like different positions. It's not the same. So I really thought, okay, what do you want? And I felt two things. That at that time I was missing Asia, because I had lived and worked in China 6 years and traveling extensively in Southeast Asia for my job. And then I wanted to do something more useful, as I just explained. So I was starting to read about social entrepreneurship, business for good. And I thought that really appeals to me. And so that's how it started. And then the most difficult thing is to make the step, and just leave a situation, and then so what happened to me is finished that job in Ireland, came back to France for a while, and I said, I really need to go. And a couple of months later, I took a plane ticket to Asia, and I didn't come back. So in the meantime, I've started kind of 3 businesses. So it's 10 years later now. So so I don't regret it. But yes, I remember at that time it was also a bit strange not to get your paycheck. I haven't had a paycheck for 20 years, and that is like, even if I had some savings, even if I knew it was something that was new for me and that I had to deal with, still it's strange, and actually I was based in Singapore for a couple of months at that time while I was doing my research on my next step, and Singapore is an expensive city. So I was living again with our flatmate because I wanted to be in the center, and yeah, it's like back to student times a bit, at 40, like, okay, it's a situation, but I knew I wouldn't stay there. I was just doing research on my next step and what I would do. It would be somewhere in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
So that was the shift, and it was not an easy time for this couple of 8-9 months. I stayed in Singapore before moving to Bali when I had my idea, and I said, okay, now I'm going to do this and move to Indonesia to start a social enterprise. But it was a good time also to reflect, to think about what are you good at, what do you want in your future life. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy I did that, and I also say I'm super happy I did a good research at that time about, okay, what can we do? What are the issues in the world? I had no idea what I would do, but then I started to read some reports from the UN, from UNICEF, and I found the issues with water and access to clean water, and I thought I need to do something there, especially because I got really struck by the statistics. Africa is the worst place in the world in terms of access to clean water, and then Southeast Asia is number 2. And also, and the same thing for what we call infant mortality. And when I started to read the statistics, infant mortality is kids below 5-year-old who die from a disease which was a disease which can be prevented, a waterborne disease, drinking unclean water. So I felt like I need to do something there, because maybe there I can have an impact. And I felt very moved by this horrible statistics. Basically, still today in the world, every 2 minutes a small baby dies because they drink unclean water. And in Indonesia, it's still about 27,000 children. So you just I was like, I need to do something there, because and try to bring my business skills, setting up a company. And then I did research on water filtration systems below $30, because I didn't want to set up an NGO. I wanted to have a for-profit business, and I need to sustain myself, but I need also my customers, which are not very, let's say, wealthy, to be able to afford the product. So I did research to below $30. And that's the story. Then I found a company in Indonesia. I did research on a few companies in Thailand, also in Vietnam, in Cambodia. And when I talked to these people, the owners of the companies, and then I found a company in Indonesia that started a couple of years before and was having a great water filtration system, $25 for individual households. And I said, I want to go and promote this. So that's when I moved to Indonesia. And the reason is because that factory is based in West Java, not in Bali, in West Java, in a city called Bandung, 2 hours from Jakarta. So that's a bit the story.
Yeah, awesome. While listening to you, I mean, the amazing part is that you really took the leap of faith from all of these places that you've been to, and you decided to move to different area of the world and challenge yourself, or giving yourself a permission to start a new beginning, whereby you're serving more, fulfilling to yourself, and also make a difference in this world and to the planet. And could you talk a little bit more with us that, for someone like you who has been on top, and then moving to, like what you said, you started to become a student again. And I'm pretty sure there are so many kind of self-doubt thoughts. And I just want to kind of let you elaborate further. How did you manage to keep moving forward despite all of this negative thinking? Because obviously we are getting matured, you have already built your good profile, and now here you are starting all over again, not totally clueless, but you're well experienced when it comes to managing, networking, but it's a totally brand new for you in terms of entrepreneur, right? So how do you keep moving forward to that sort of situation back then, if you can remember? So then I think a lot of people with the same situation as you, that right now listening or watching, and they're having this trouble to having these self-doubts, and they can't really know how to figure that out. Maybe you have something to share your story and how did you keep yourself moving forward from there?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, at that time, I had these doubts. I mean, again, it's not because I have had responsibilities at a high level in corporate setting that maybe I would be a good entrepreneur. I didn't know at that time. I mean, it's very different things you need to have. I mean, for sure, the skills you learn in the corporate help you a lot. But it's a total different ball game. I mean, as you said, I think that the most important thing is to keep faith. And when the negative, or let's say the voices in your head come, trying to make friends with them and saying, you know, I mean, I know what my worth is, what my value is, and how can I contribute? And I remember also in Singapore, I was discovering at that time 10 years ago, we called co-working spaces. I didn't know what that was, and I saw all these people in tech becoming like working in this co-working space, having their own businesses, 23, 24-year-olds starting their businesses. And I was like, wow. It made me a bit jealous, saying, oh, I'm 10 years too old. I would have loved to be a bit younger so I could have experienced that. But on the same time, my experience also, as I always say, I don't regret because I learned a lot in the corporate world. And I used to live in China. I learned so many things there. In many countries. So this is like what's built, this is your base, and you know that basically it's not, you have this, and this will help you. And it's again, as I said, making friends with the noises in your head, meaning that everything is welcome in that moment, you know, it is what it is. And you let these noises come and say, okay, but that is just your thoughts. That's not you, that's not the reality. And there's a lot of introspections and there's a lot of doubts. I remember walking in Singapore and having, you know, this big city and like people also, you know, it's a city of work. A lot of people work and you can see them not necessarily all happy. And I was just getting out of it, and it was a transition period in place. I knew, but I would not stay there. But it was like, oh, I need also the time. So I kind of decided to take the time also that I needed to do my next move, not putting pressure on myself. This is a very important point. In the same time, I also met a friend and I started another business with him. Like we started to conceptualize another startup, which we worked on and which was, it's not existing anymore, but we worked on it for 3-4 years. It was operational in the Philippines. And I had these two things. It was a peer-to-peer platform to basically offering finance and loans to mom and pop shops. The saris in the Philippines is mom and pop shops. And so it was a total new concept. We're using already blockchain to making a transaction. It was just the early days of blockchain. And it's a typical venture which was a little bit too early for its time. And we financed it with our partners for 2 years, and then 2-3 years, and then we had to stop. We almost secured $1 million after that, but from some institutions, like let's say investors, but it just didn't happen. The funny thing is, I started as a Singapore, moved to Bali, but I wanted to do my own thing. So I also did my own thing. So I had things going on, which also were new for me, getting into working with a business partner. You know, you need to agree, you need to move on with strategy, even if you have the same values and you have the same goal, you have sometimes different views. So I was learning all this during this learning process. This couple of first months in Singapore helped me also to focus on what I wanted to do on my own thing. I knew I would have my own business and do my own social enterprise. And it was just a matter of finding the right product and the right thing, which were these water filters. So that is the time where I just didn't put pressure on myself and decided to take the time I needed to have to unfold, to see what was good and when would be the right time to move on and to start the new business.
Amazing. I just want
so it took me about half a year.
Okay, sorry. So I was just want to summarize that. I love when you mentioned friending with your this voice, this innate voice that telling you all of this negative thinking that you can entertain, but at the same time aligning, focusing on your worth, on your value, and really your purpose of why you jump on this position anyway. And I also want to acknowledge you by saying that, you know, when you moved to Singapore and you met all of these people, you know, like younger than you, and then you kind of felt a little bit intimidated, and you mentioned like you feel jealous, but you're open for learning. And I think a lot of people felt that when you're becoming matured, you know, you're having this age, it's kind of difficult to admit that you've got to learn more and more. And that's actually the creativity for us to keep moving forward, is that really just be a forever student and learning. And thank you for sharing that. Really, really valuable for a lot of people watching or listening right now that perhaps were going through with this very challenging innate voice, like starting to feel negativity. So maybe not a lot of people would know what is social impact all about. And I'm sure, or I hope, that things are doing well now in Bali, Indonesia, in terms of COVID-19. So I want you to share with us what this social impact is all about. And right now, also, like, what have you learned from the COVID transition or experience that I'm sure it was tough for you as well? And what have you learned from that you are transitioning into a new structure or new strategies moving forward in this situation? So share with us.
Yeah, so I was not super creative for the name of my company. So here is the social impact that we would create. Is in Bahasa Indonesia, in local language, dampak, we became means impact. And then I have my logo here, so I have my t-shirt today, a bit of branding. So you can find me on Instagram, social impact all together with a K, so you can see a bit what I'm doing there. Yeah, I mean, basically what is social impact? It's a social enterprise, it's a for-profit, and it is its mission is to improve access to clean water in remote areas, mainly of Indonesia, where I live. And also of basically with a filtration system. So with a device, which is a simple tool, which is 2 buckets with a ceramic gravity filter, and you pour water, and then you can basically drink the water from your tap, water from the well, even dirty river water. So this is the tool that I found, which was manufactured here. So I became basically the main customer of the factory. So because I had a lot of passion, and I mean from the beginning they have quite a few people reselling their products, but I mean I was one of the top one, or one of the top ones of their resellers every year, meaning that. Why I decided to do that? Because no point for me to reinvent the wheel and start a small factory in Bali. There was a factory already there in Java, and I've been in manufacturing for 20 years of my life in corporate, selling the products that we were manufacturing. So I have quite a lot of experience there. But I thought, maybe I will kind of earn a little bit on it, but not much, and it's very low margin product. So no point. So it's a great technology. My goal is to market it and to bring it to the people you call the bottom of the pyramid, or the people who have the disadvantage, the less favored people who have not so much income, and who basically have also some health issues often, because they can't eat very healthy, because they don't have the knowledge, or healthy food sometimes, and organic food is quite expensive.
Yes.
I'm also working on that now, but that's another topic for another day. I started a new company also with a friend here about for organic fruits and vegetables, a fair trade platform. But coming back to social impact, it's the water filter. So the water filters basically are not really much known by these people. So it's bring that to this last mile, and that's what I'm doing. So mainly going to the villages, explaining about this technology, and introducing it there. So the model is that I work with the head of the villages or the local influencers, let's say, to have technology accepted, because it's something new for them. It's simple; they've never seen it. So you need to have it accepted by them, show them how it works. It's a training on how to use it, how to clean the filter. It's not rocket science, but you need to go through this first, and it's to get the buy-in from the leaders who then help you to propagate or diffuse this technology in the village. So this is what I've been doing. But again, as you mentioned earlier, we all learn this independently of the age. And what I learned is that on top of the, let's say, of the main advantage is people save money. They don't have to buy water. They can just take water from their tap. And for these people, buying water is expensive because they don't earn a lot. The target, let's say, group, my target customers. And then on top of it, you also reduce plastic bottle use, CO2 emissions, and the best thing is also you improve their health, because actually our filtration system still keeps the minerals, which is normally when you buy water, it's another system, it's called reverse osmosis, and it takes most of the minerals out. So here, depending on the source of water, which is mainly here well water in Indonesia, or water from the mountain, it's full of minerals, and we don't take them off, so people drink still healthy water. So this is like great, and I can talk about a bit of the impact on these three metrics a bit later if you want. But then on environment, on health, and on savings, on economics. But what I wanted also to say is that because this technology is so useful, we live in a country where there's a lot of, fortunately, natural disasters like earthquakes, volcano eruptions. Once I read, and I love this phrase, that Indonesia is a very dangerously beautiful country. And it is true. So there's a lot. We are on tectonic plates. We have like more, I don't know how many, but a lot of active volcanoes here in the country.
Yes.
I have been helping with disaster relief. I didn't know when I would start this company that would be something I wouldn't say become a specialist in, but learn a lot about. So I have distributed water filters to victims of, first in Bali, there was a volcanic eruption in 2017 of our main volcano. So people had to leave the area and go down more to the sea. And they were kind of in our villages, but living in the main square in kind of camps, because they couldn't stay in their place. It was too dangerous. It was 3 months of eruption then. So then we brought filters to these camps, and a year later in 2018 got a huge earthquake, which we felt a lot in Bali, but on our neighboring island called Lombok. And this for me was a huge eye-opener. I had to set up operations. I raised about $170,000 over a year for my products. We were able to distribute and impact 7,000 families, 7,000 units, which is about 40,000 people who were just living actually in tents or next to their house, which was destroyed. So we could bring them the water filter, and then they could use water from the river or any water which was there, because that's the problem in this. The first things which are broken are the pipes and the things, and then access to clean water is the #1 emergency. So then I set up a team. I work with 10-15 NGOs who helped me to distribute these filters. So I had to scale my output, my business 30 times in a matter of 2 weeks. So I learned a lot. And then my corporate skills helped me a lot to set up systems, procedures that I could deliver the filters from the factory to Lombok to my storage were set up, and then to the people. So that was a huge learning experience. And then I said, wow, I can deliver a lot of volumes in a short amount of time. But this is just for actual events like earthquakes or
I have a question. Sorry. No, I was just about to ask you, this programs that you did, that was pre-COVID, right? And
yes,
in COVID, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, a lot of us really impacted with it, and it shaped us, right? To kind of really reflect, step back a little bit and do restructuring. And because you can't really go out and you are in a place whereby, I don't know, I mean, is it like really restricted? You can't go out, or because it's in the village, maybe you can still go out, but really limited people. How does this impact you? And what did you learn from there? Because I mean, for a lot of people didn't know or don't know, he speaks Indonesia, Bahasa Indonesia, so he can communicate with people and he has all of these leaders. But yeah, so how does it impact you during the COVID?
Yeah, that's a good point, Mary. Actually, what happened is that's the continuation. So because I learned in 2017, 18, 19 a lot about different disaster reliefs, I was also kind of, when COVID hit, I mean, it's kind of a panic product. It was more for the expats who lived here. They started to see, oh, lockdown in my country. Maybe I can't go out and buy water. So let's get a renewable in my system. And they didn't really necessarily need it because, yeah, I mean, they can buy water, they have money. And then some were using it, who were a bit more conscious ecologically. So then I had a huge, I remember March, April 2020 when COVID hit. Yeah. I had a huge surge in sales from people who, it's like a crisis product, and people started to panic a bit and buy my product. And then after 2 months, because we started to get used to COVID, actually dropped back to normal. And then actually, since COVID, my business side, because I also supply this product to the people in the city. I have like 15 shops here reselling the product, expats and locals buying it. My business dropped a bit, and we never got really back to the levels of pre-COVID. But then I was also thinking, okay, that I was at the beginning, and I said, what can I do? And when I do a fundraising, there's a lot of work also for myself. I'm quite kind of successful at it. I raised more than $300,000 for my products over the last year. Awesome. So, and half of that was roughly the big earthquake in Lombok. But still, I knew that I had to make a decision in April 2020. Do I do a new fundraiser or not? Because it's a lot of energy. And then it's not about that. It's then you have to reach out, social media, people, friends, but then set up your fundraising page, your video, but then it's more about, okay, I need to go and distribute them because I'm the best person to train. So I have learned at that time also to collaborate with other, let's say, NGOs who were giving food and giving like some food relief when COVID hit, and training them. But still 80% of the, let's say, of the fundraising I was doing, I was going to distribute these filters to the communities in need. And we found them with my partner NGOs. I have a lot of people that I know, mainly people in the city here, because at that time the problem is that when the island shut down, 60-70% of the economy here is tourism. So for the first time, a lot of people lost jobs, had to go back to the village. There was no work anymore in the hotels and restaurants. But the Balinese people had still a bit of food. Maybe it was not easy, but they had to go back to the village, let's say. And then there's a lot of what you call migrant workers, or people who have been living in Bali but not Balinese, and like construction workers, like people who are selling plastic bottles that they find in the trash bins, or cardboard with a bit of value for recycling. So these people are very, let's say, poor communities, people in need, and that's the people I targeted to bring new filters and give them a filter for free, So the thing is that I've distributed about 3,000, so I knew it would be quite successful. I did about 1,700 only in the 6 months in 2020, like from let's say June when I started to distribute, 6-7 months to December. So most of the part was really when COVID hit, and but in 2021 I've still continued, and I still continue. My fundraiser is still on, but then I go and distribute them and do a training, because if I don't do a training to these people, it has no point. Some will use it well, but some won't. They don't understand necessarily. Can't just go over and drop my buckets. So what I was trying to say is that I knew that I had this power, but do I have the means myself to have the energy to do it again? And I said yes, because I saw the need, and I'm super happy I did it, because every time I go back and I check with the people where I've put these filters, I do some checks people are using them well or not. I go back, they're so happy because I've never seen it. And I always start my distributions and let's say my trainings with jokes. Where have you seen that? It's normal. It's coming from the planet Mars. I just came from came from the moon. And then I also say, like, it's 2 plastic buckets. It's not why in Indonesia they love to save crackers in plastic buckets, smaller ones. It's not a place to save crackers, guys. The kerupuk they call it. It's a device. It's a technology. So just making a bit of humor to break the ice, and then you can explain what it is, and they understand the utility and let's say the use of that product. And then they're super happy because they really save money. They didn't know it exists. Oh, really? Can we drink water from it? So we show them, we drink in front of them, and then they trust you, and then they use the product. There's a huge utilization rate, so I'm quite happy about that. But these trainings are paramount, are very important to have this, to allow this huge utilization rate of the product. So make sure that everybody uses it well. Since COVID, another 3,000 units have been distributed. So I'm quite happy, and now I have also projects in different islands. I'm not just doing Bali. I actually my biggest project is still the island of Lombok, where that earthquake was a couple of years ago. I work with people from Spain there. I think you live in Spain, and so it's so funny, but they come here twice a year, and they fund some programs on water, sanitation, and health, and the filters are part of that program. I just did a project. I'm doing a project. Just send some filters to the big island of Sumatra, which is where elephants still north of Medan. We are helping a community there who has been hardly hit from COVID, because it was a place where the people come and visit in the jungle and visit some elephants in the wild. So we have supply now, just send 100 filters for these guides, and people have less income. So there's all these things that I'm doing with partner organizations. This particular fundraiser was set up by me and my partner, who's working in that area, who set up an NGO for protecting the elephants and helping the guides there right now. So it's great. There's so many interesting let's say projects who come and people contact me, and so it's a positive thing, because you really bring let's say clean water, you bring health, you can really break what I say when I do presentations. Since my most important slide here is breaking the vicious circle of poverty, because just with clean water, because some remote communities which are not very wealthy, they're also not always healthy. So if for instance, a lot of moms, when the kid is sick, can't go to open his little shop, or his little warung, we call here little shop, or little selling place in the village, and so there's loss of income again. So it's better that the kid or the child is healthy and can go to school, and the mom can go and work and bring some income. So just bringing clean water can improve that. And I always say it's a beautiful tool, actually, to start a discussion about health, about washing the hands, about why it's important not to throw plastic bottles or buy too many plastic bottles and throw them on the ground. So I've done a lot of programs also with schools. So sometimes I work with funders like the Rotary Club or people like this. They do programs in schools about hygiene and about training, training kids on how to eat more healthy, how to drink, also hydrate yourself, and all these things. So I'm so lucky that my product is a beautiful tool to provide education and also to basically improve health. So this is this is like why I still love that. I've been doing it 9 years now, and it's not a job. I always say it's a passion project. I can live from it, but again, it's not the main goal. I'm lucky. I always say I'm super lucky that I put a bit of money aside during my corporate years. So I have that financial freedom in a way, which is a huge factor. I'm super grateful and blessed every day. I wake up always very grateful every day about this, because I can choose what I want to do and try to see where I can have more impact. So this is the this is something which is good. And yeah, so maybe just before I forget, I told you earlier, because just to give an idea to your audience and your listeners about, because it's important to have some impact, but it's also very important to measure it, to understand what it really brings. And so, for instance, the on economics, all the customers that I have, all the people I have supplied filters to, if you take the savings we have made, like if you add them one by one over the last 8 years, let's say, it's about $1.2 million that all my people have saved on not buying water and by filtering water. So $1.2 million of money they saved. And then the on terms of plastic bottles, I'm super happy because in December last year, I reached my 100 million plastic bottles saved, meaning that 100 million plastic bottles have not been used by the people that use the filters. So it's a lot,
Yeah.
So that now I'm over that 100 million figure this year. I reached that end of last year. And basically, we have some indicators which are internationally recognized to calculate this. As basically a person will not use a bottle a day if they have the filter. If they wouldn't have the filter, they would buy a bottle to drink. Bottle. And also in terms of CO2 emissions, for instance, in the villages, people still boil water, and they boil water on often on wood, on gas sometimes. So it's a lot of smoke. And even on gas, when you release CO2, and all the sales, let's say, of my filters, all the filters that I've distributed saved about 14,000 tons of CO2. 14,000 tons of CO2 since I started. Just to give you an idea of the impact that this product.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that out. I think that's super helpful, because in my opinion, because I came from a village as well, but actually it's a city. But remembering when I was in the Philippines, in Nasugbu, I think one of the key things that we're lacking with is education, bringing awareness, and bringing awareness. You demonstrated to people. It's amazing. You speak the language. You're bringing the leaders as well, and you're making them feel safe, and also like you're making them feel that they are also important, even though they are low income or unprivileged in terms of wealthy, and thank you for bringing that, because especially when you mention about how you save, because I think slowly now a lot of people starting to become more aware because of the help of social media or internet as well, that we can refuse not using this plastic, because what a lot of people don't understand, that we can actually reuse it, but if possible, refuse to use the plastic, because it's one of the biggest challenges that we're facing on why we're experiencing the climate change. So thank you, and that's a very valuable and useful information for a lot of people out there who not aware about how important having the clean water, but at the same time having this tool, the water filter that you're providing to the village or Indonesia right now. I'm sure it will get expanded with a lot of people that will be finding it interesting to collaborate with you. How they can reach out with you, we'll cover that later. So thank you. You mentioned about this entrepreneur a little bit during this COVID hit and all of these things. So I want you to share with us a little bit of your what you have learned when you start this business as a social entrepreneur field. Like for a lot of people out there, especially in I would say maybe they are in the position like you that has already built that identity as an executive officer or position in their life, and they realize that, because I always believe that we keep moving forward, we make ourselves fulfilled, it's because of the purpose. We always want to look for purpose, and that keeps us moving forward. It's exactly why I'm doing this, because I want to contribute a little to make a difference and to support people who are also making a difference. So, what is your piece of advice that you can share with people? Make it easier in the same situation as you back then, what to consider before jumping to a social entrepreneur field?
Yeah, first, before I reply to this, I really want to acknowledge you also for what you do, because I've seen the amazing people you brought on your podcast over the last year. It's a beautiful project, and I know we have discussed that offline, but it's like everyone, there's always fears and doubts and things, and you've done it, and you're here. So
Thank you.
That's something I want to acknowledge first. It's very important, and you empower your life. Let's say series is not contributing a little, it's contributing, and I hope, and also with our conversation and the other guests you have brought up, will also let's say inspire people to
Yes.
take action. So this is so what I want to say on this, and the advice I would give, or a suggestion, I don't like the word advice, but it's more to believe in yourself, and first also that's one thing. Okay, everybody has skills, everybody has something to bring to this world. Then look a bit at what your passions are. If you want to become a social entrepreneur, you want to make impact, you want to help the planet, the people, because basically the definition of social entrepreneurship is to let's say to market a product or a service which has a positive impact on people or planet. So, so basically, again, it's to make sure that you're do some research and find something, a product, a service, a passion. Can be a lot of things. You can help people in your neighborhood. It's already a social enterprise. You can. The world, unfortunately, the world is so. Well, how can I say, not to use swear words, but the world is not in a good state.
Yes. It's a mess.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot of things to fix. Yes. And I think that's why social entrepreneurship is very important now, because if we don't have this kind of initiatives, and there are beautiful initiatives in the world, but suppose we need more. We really need more. It's not a mainstream movement now. So the thing is, find something that has maybe let's say that is needed. It's not because you want to do something. Oh yeah, I want to do something more useful. I want to create something with impact. I want to help people. Yes, but is there a need? Meaning, can you make a business of it? And for me, it's important that you can sustain yourself and sustain a business, because if it doesn't work, your company will not survive, and that's why a lot of startups fail, because people maybe have a misfit with the market, there's not really a need. So, or when there's founders issue or funding, but you can start small with what we call an MVP, a minimum viable product, but something that is needed. So do a bit of research first, and make sure that what you want to do has a potential, maybe not immediately, but after some time, to make money. And that's important, because then if that's successful, you can employ people, you can start something bigger, you can maybe export your product or your service. So it's important to have the will, to have the want to do something, to have that passion, but then also to look at something that is viable. And that, how do you know? By doing a bit of research and seeing, okay, there's a gap here, or I could do that. So, there's so many things to do, because I'm sure in every place in the world there's dysfunctions, there are things which don't work. And then you can try to reduce that and bring a product or service which will fix that problem, that issue. So I'll just give you an example. It's not, again, the show today is about my a social impact company, but also during the pandemic, I saw the issue with food. When people were giving food and bringing food to the poor people, it's good, but then okay, when there's no money anymore, there's not food. So we helped also with people to grow food and to make a small garden, and
love it.
Especially for the for the most the less privileged communities. If you have food and water, which are the basic needs, it's already a hell of a lot. It's huge. To bring that to them. So I was distributing filters and with NGOs and friends which were giving food. And food is eaten in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days max, depending on how much you bring. My water filter you can use for 3 years, and then you change the candle and you can use it longer even if you want. So it's a sustainable product. So I saw that that's not really a line, and I thought I need to do also something on the food. So a friend approached me and said, hey, I want to start a business because organic fruits and vegetables are super expensive here. And it's not more expensive than Europe, and only the foreigners in Bali can buy that. And I say, it's not fair. So we need to try to find a way to buy directly from farmers. So that's what we do with our new venture, Bali Co-op. We buy directly from farmers. We do a lot of middlemen, trying to avoid all these middlemen, and that the farmer gets a fair trade price. So it's a fair trade platform. And then you can also give a better price to the consumer. It's doable. And so we are building that right now. So the thing is, it's identify some issues and then try to bring some solutions, and then do a test. Also do a test on a small scale. Don't burn all your money. Just try to do some maybe a test market, a pilot, and then see. And if it works, beautiful, continue in that. If not, you can pivot. You see, you learn what is not working, actually what's really needed, and then you can pivot, what we call, and then you just basically move it a bit and try something else or something new or something which is really needed. Because during your research, you will find out, oh, actually, that's not the thing. It's maybe something else. So that's what I would say. And I would really encourage people. I mean, like, just to start and try, because in the end of the I mean, for sure, we all. People who have jobs, it's hard to leave because they are sometimes not happy in a job, but you need money. You have children, you have loans, you have mortgage. So so basically, the thing is that yes, it's not always easy, but if you're not in that situation, you can just jump and do that leap of faith for yourself. And okay, let's try. And again, you can try also something on the side. You don't necessarily need to leave your job. It adds a bit on it, but you can start a small business on the side and see if it works and if you see the potential. Test and then do it. So there's different options, but in the end of the day, it's all all the people who succeeded, who do good things like you're doing, like the people on your show do, and the interviews I've seen. What I hope I do too is like we all had our doubts, we all had our little voices as we talked about earlier, and it's just you acknowledge it. It's okay. It's just there, but just see it's not the reality, and it's not. It's just thoughts who come to you, and just then park them. Or everybody has his own process, but the reality is when we do things, when we have action, and we try. We are already there. We already move and not think too much, So we do, and again, what I said earlier doesn't mean to take a huge risk, but you can start small pilots, small things, step by step.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's quite a lot. So if I can summarize, I think the first thing that's very important that I want to highlight once again will be the self-awareness. This is one of the things that I'm working so hard of understanding how human behavior works as a coach, because information tools is everywhere. It's easy to access, but the reason why we're not able to do such things is because here, and this is one of the things that actually like the key factor why we're not moving forward, because it's too powerful. If we are not using it the right way, it's really gonna mess us up. And so he mentioned that all of these doubts, we are all having it. And, you know, but at the same time, this is one thing that I truly believe that I want to reiterate every time. We are unique. You are unique. Jeroen is unique. We have our own gifts to offer in this world. And just remember, what is your purpose? You know, we can always have that kind of first agenda or goal of making successful in terms of tangible, external, but I can guarantee you, having this all interviews from different people, it's not all it. There's still something that's missing, and I think it's really making a difference. So working on your self-awareness, you know, be friend with your self-doubt is totally fine. That's how you work on things, communicate it. And then the second thing is that believe in yourself. I truly believe on that, that once you have work on yourself, believing in yourself, and then do the research, like what are the needed things or the issues that within your community. For example, for me, I want to lift the circle of my people, like in the Philippines or even here, once I build my community, and really remind people that we really have the possibilities to create the best potential of ours and serve to the world and to the planet and to the people. And also, you mentioned that test, right? Don't be afraid to test it. And because a lot of people out there wants just to jump. Entrepreneur is not for everyone. You know, if you cannot jump straight away and have that leap of faith, start little by little. And if you can't leave your job, that's totally fine. You can work on the side for as long as you can pivot, you can restructure, you can seek for help, and all of that things, it will nourish slowly if you're in the right place. And don't be afraid to say, okay, I want to stop this business because I think there's another best place that I can start, because that purpose will keep on restructuring. You know, it will mold or hone you to the right purpose that you're meant to be. So yeah, I think I just trying to summarize everything what Jeroen said and just start small, right?
Yeah, very good summary. Very good summary. One thing I wanted to add on that, because while I was hearing you summarize, is that don't be afraid to ask. And you know, you'll be surprised because there are things you don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. So that's okay. So it's just, you'll be surprised by, if you have good intentions, by the number of people who are ready to help you. And so it's just to get the word out and ask them things. Hey, do you know a person working that field? Look at your own network first, and then don't be afraid to ask, because people are, I'm always surprised by how people actually are, how humanity can be good, and people, as long as they feel you're doing something good, they want to help you. So this is the thing, don't be afraid to ask things to people. And again, and another point is, I mean, as you said, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but you don't need to do it on your own also. So you can work with someone and try to, that's what my friend did, and came to talk to me and inspired me about his idea. And I said, yeah, I want to jump in. And it came at the right time. It has to come at the right time, and things that I will have experienced also. But the thing is, you can you can have a partner, a business partner, and start something together. It gives, and everybody has his own skills. So entrepreneurship is very lonely. It's a very lonely thing. You know, yeah, I mean, it's what it is. I mean, you know, you wake up in the morning and it's like you have all your issues in your head, and like, okay, I need to do this, and you know, so again, it's about reaching out. And also I force myself to do that. I'm super happy to have this new project, because in the Overbeek investment, here I'm not alone. I'm working with talented people, try to contribute with my skills, but at the same time, I haven't left my passion, and that passion, I will continue on it. And if I really need to hire someone for it, for the time I can handle myself, I will do, because I know the impact it has. So this is like my baby. This is the thing I started here in Indonesia, the water filtration and the access to clean water. And so this is something which has to be continued. And I've been in that for social impact, I have maximum 1 or 2 employees. I've always doing most of it myself, which is a good thing and a bad thing. And it's also because of the size of the business. And then when COVID hit, I was no point to have an assistant. Today I have just a social media manager who helps me because it's a lot to do and it's not something I wanted to do anymore. I used to do it. And so it's just about finding the right task. And today I couldn't do it anymore. I'm working on 2 businesses, but in the end of the day, it's to be also see what's your workload, what you can do. And again, as I said, don't be afraid to ask, and maybe you can partner with someone for if you have a great idea. If you know a friend or someone you can trust or someone who would be interested in your cause or the same values, then it's important to be aligned on the values and have the clear goal. But if that you have the same goals and the clear values with the values which are aligned, you can start a partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. That's thank you for pointing additional. I think that was 2 points. So yeah, thank you, Jeroen. So now you mentioned that you're working on the new project that who approached you about this food or diet food or organic food, and also managing this social impact, even though you have at least 2 people or employees that helping you out. I'm curious, how do you keep yourself optimistic?
Good question. I mean, it's a mindset, we're all humans and we have better days than others. Some days you wake up, you're in a grumpy mood, you don't know why, you don't want to wake up, and some days you're just okay, and some days you have a lot of energy. This is like, so this is just to acknowledge this, and it's again, it's about being grateful to be alive and to be able to be in good health and being able to do things you love and things you like and having impact. So for me, I've always been a bit more optimistic than anything, but it's just also it helps to do things that you like, and that you live with passion. As I said, for me, it's more passion than a job. So, but it is to realize that I'm privileged, I'm super privileged because I've had education. I've been able to travel the world. I have a lot of experience, and now it's my time, to give back, because I see a lot of people don't have that privilege or are not in that position. Yeah, so true. How can I not be optimistic? It would be really bad, So I have to be optimistic to be able to get that energy and to continue my mission, because it's a long journey. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now, but it's great. And now with my new project too, there's a lot of things which are linked and which are compatible, because we work with a lot of farmers. We need to bring clean water to these farmers too at some point. Right now is to give them better income for their produce, for their work, because they are not remunerated at the right price. They're very, very, unfortunately, it's not fair. They put a lot of work and they don't get the right price for it and the right remuneration. So once we have done that and we get that, I can also help them with water and also save money on water. So so things are linked, and it's just basically to see what is interconnected and then bring some synergies to the table.
Yeah, thank you. I was just saying that there's a reason why they call you water magician. So, because you've been helping them understanding the value of having clean water, saving, not only saving for the money, but at the same time protecting how we can contribute slowly but surely in terms of protecting our planet. So it's one thing I can tell everyone who's listening or watching right now, it's an interesting, a very fascinating to get to know Jeroen, even though we haven't met in person, but obviously you can tell how much he committed himself in terms of serving people, not only just serving, but also educating them, also bringing this tool, the water filter, to help them health and protecting the planet at the same time. So the water magician, as they call. I'm pretty curious what they're going to call you once you launch the new business. Anyway, in terms of social impact, where they can reach you, it's say to buy, share a little bit how they can contribute. Let's say if they want to donate, if they want to purchase, or maybe they want to collaborate with you. So yeah.
So there's different ways. You can find me online. As I said, I have a website. It's social impact with a dash in the middle between social and impact and a k.com. My Instagram is social impact and impact with a K. Facebook is similar, I think double T, but you can find me there. You can see my logo here. And in terms of if people come to Bali, don't hesitate to reach out. Maybe there's ways to collaborate, do things together. In terms of supporting and funding, my fundraising is still going on. I think you can mention that in your, let's say, in the podcast, in the blog.
Yes.
It's on Donor Box, Clean Water for Bali. And so if you feel inspired to donate there, one water filter is $20 for a family, so they can get clean water for 3 years, 5 people. So this is a very small amount, and then I will distribute that to the people in need here in Bali. And also, if we want to collaborate, or people, maybe some companies, CSR programs, or people who want to help me to maybe expand my network, or to same it's a great technology. So it has to be known. People tell me always like, how come not every household has that here? That's my work. I'm getting there. There's only there's only 260 million people left, because we're on the 4th biggest, most populous country in the world. So we've reached already 2-3 million people, but we need to do another 267. But we're getting there. It is that's for sure. It's our mission. It's every family should have access to clean water, and that is just by helping us spread the knowledge, the awareness of this beautiful tool. That can only help. So everything is welcome here, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. I'm very open. You can reach me on my social media. I'm very open to get any feedback, or maybe any questions you have. I'm very happy to answer that.
Awesome. So I'm going to put that on my blog once again. For the website is social-impact with a T.com, right? Or not, or .id? .com. And for social media, that will be for Instagram and Facebook, social impact with no dash. It could be with double T in Facebook, but anyway, you will find out with the same logo as what he's wearing, the shirt. So that will be his company. And remember that if you feel privileged right now, that you have a job, you have a healthy career, healthy family, and all of that, and you feel that you want to donate, you want to support, go ahead and visit their website. $20, it could be small or big for everyone, but we can donate. And if it doesn't have to be now, so whenever you feel like you want to donate and support this program or this business that Jeroen is doing to support and bring clean water in the villages in Indonesia that is helping with, just go ahead and visit the website. And if you're in Bali or Indonesia, Lombok and all of this, Indonesia is huge, but if you're in Bali specifically and you're watching or listening to this episode right now and you want to do small action to make a difference, maybe you want to do a volunteering, I don't know, there could be a possible work or idea that you can contribute. If you want it, just reach out to Jeroen and social media or Facebook. So there you go. Thank you so much, Jeroen. It has been a fantastic and amazing conversation with you, of sharing a lot of information, not only about your transition, but also the social impact, the entrepreneurship, and a lot, actually. So really, really appreciate you.
You're welcome, Cindy Mary. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I hope it was helpful for your listeners and all your people. And again, don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, it's all about collaboration, see how we can support each other and making, how can I say, putting our little stones brick by brick and to try to make this world a better place.
Exactly. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode. I hope you find it very valuable and useful. If you do so, I would really, really appreciate if you can share it over to everyone who will be benefiting everyone. So our website or our program or our show will grow organically. So I can provide you or bring you more guests that will provide us a lot of interesting stories and tips and tricks and everything else. So don't hesitate to forward it or share it over to everyone. So remember, small little things, small step every day, still a progress, because that surely will be a progress to whatever you're working on. So keep moving forward. And thank you once again for watching this episode. Empower your life, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy that interview and I hope you find it inspiring and motivating. Remember, stay optimistic and keep taking action slowly but surely for your big dreams. Thank you once again, and I'll see you on the next episode here at Empower Your Life.